Hey there, I'm Lee from Play Guitar Academy. I help frustrated guitar players get back to getting better at the guitar. Have you had a hard time switching from electric to acoustic guitar or the other way around? Today I'm going to talk about the physical differences between the two guitars and why that can lead to big problems when you're trying to make the switch. The musical design for both of these guitars is the same. We've got 6 strings with generally over 19 frets, up to 22, some go to 24. The tuners, the strings, the bridge, they all function the same way. They're tuned the same. Standard tuning is the same on both guitars. So you'd think it'd be easy to move from one to the other. That's where the problem starts. So let's talk about the differences, the size of the guitar. Once you get familiar with your first instrument, whether you picked acoustic or electric to start with, when you switch to the other one, that it can be jarring. When you're an acoustic player, you're used to a greater angle of picking and of fretting. This is the opposite for electric guitars. Electric guitar tends to be thinner, so your picking arms and your fretting arms are much closer in, and you're much more bent at the elbows than at the wrists. Let's talk about the length of guitars. Acoustic guitar tends to be a longer instrument. The body of the guitar extends further than the electric, and the headstocks can be, not all the time, sometimes they're the same size, but I've seen some longer headstocks on acoustic guitars. Where the acoustic sits, we may have a longer reach to get to play in our open position on the guitar. Play our open position chords and scales. You're bending your wrists a little bit more. The height of the guitar tends to be bigger on the acoustic than the electric as well. And when you're seated, it's a big difference between the guitars. You might find that you have to sit up straighter when you play an acoustic than when you play electric. The next physical difference between the two guitars is the strings. The acoustic guitar has thicker strings. Also, it generally has a higher action. That's the distance between the top of the fret and the string, looking at it from the side. Why is that? Well, we have these heavier strings, and they're having to do a lot more work. We tend to be pushing a lot more air with these strings. So players tend to have a heavier touch with the acoustic guitar than the electric guitar. And because of that, the strings are going to vibrate. They're going to move at a greater distance. It's important to add more relief to the neck of the guitar. What relief is, it's the curvature of the neck long ways. So you can use your truss rod to move your neck forward towards the front of the guitar, or backwards away from the guitar, a forward bow or a back bow. Why we would want to do that is to leave more room for the strings to vibrate. Because we're picking them harder, they need a wider space to vibrate. If it was too flat on an acoustic guitar, you would hear a lot of buzz. The string would hit these frets, especially around here between the 5th, 7th, 9th fret. Also, because we have heavier strings, but they're tuned just as high as an electric strings, which uses lighter ones, we have a lot more tension in the strings. And this creates the need for more force from both pressing the notes down and picking the notes. Another big change between the electric guitar and the acoustic guitar is how wide the neck is. Electric guitar tends to have a much narrower neck than an acoustic, and that's comfortable, especially if you have smaller hands. That's a lot more comfortable for that, but it's not too difficult to get used to a neck this size, even though it's a little bit wider. The biggest shock comes from electric players who try to learn to play classical guitar, nylon string guitar. Nylon string guitars tend to have a very wide neck. If you started on that, that's something that you get used to. That having to stretch a little bit more in the hand, you get used to that. And then when you pick up an electric or even a regular steel string acoustic, it feels very, very small. Thanks so much for watching the video. One of the biggest difficulties people have when they're switching between electric guitar and acoustic guitar is making their chords sound clean. I've got a free guide for you. It's my guide to clear sounding chords. It's over at PlayGuitarAcademy.com. chord guide. It'll help you clear those problems up and get back to having fun and moving forward on the guitar again. Take a second to subscribe to the channel, even press the little bell there to make sure you get all of the notifications when these videos are coming through. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on other videos in this series.